You've been told to picture it, to repeat it, to believe it, that if you visualize hard enough and chant loud enough, your dream life will appear. But what if the very act of trying is what's pushing it further away? What if every affirmation is actually an announcement of absence? This isn't just mindset. This is quantum mechanics. And once you see it, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. This isn't just another self-help video. This is the quantum missing piece. And if you're ready to collapse your timeline, let's begin. Part 1. The hidden contradiction in traditional manifestation. You've been taught to ask for more, but no one warned you. Asking can be the very thing that tells the universe you don't have it. Scene 1. The origin of the chase. From the moment we're introduced to the idea of manifestation, we're handed a checklist. Picture what you want. Say it out loud. Repeat it every morning. Feel as if it's already yours. The words are inspiring. The rituals are comforting. The idea is intoxicating. If you do this consistently enough, your desires will eventually show up. But for millions of people, nothing happens. Months go by. Vision boards gather dust. Affirmations feel like lies whispered into the void. And eventually the question creeps in. Why is this not working for me? Here's the secret no one told you. The problem isn't in your actions. It's not in the technique. It's in the energy underneath those techniques. And that energy is subtle. It's the energy of chasing. Scene 2. The vibrational paradox. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, arms stretched out, trying to grab your own reflection. It doesn't matter how desperately you reach. That version of you isn't going to leap out of the glass, because what you're seeing is a reflection. Not a separate being, not a separate place, but a mirror of exactly who you're being in that moment. This is how the quantum field works. It doesn't hear your voice. It doesn't process your words. It reads your signal, your state of being, your energetic frequency. When you say, I want love, but your inner world echoes, I feel alone, the field reflects loneliness, not because it's cruel, but because it's calibrated to reflect coherence. When you affirm wealth while vibrating in fear every time you check your bank account, what you're broadcasting isn't, I am abundant. It's, I'm scared I'll never be. That's the contradiction, and contradiction is static, and static doesn't manifest. Scene 3. How the field actually responds. Let's dive into the physics of this. In quantum mechanics, we know that particles exist in a wave state, pure potential, until observed. The act of observation collapses that wave into a particle. This is known as the observer effect. But here's what's more profound. Observation isn't just about looking. It's about attention. It's about emotional resonance. You don't collapse a wave by wanting something. You collapse it by being the version of you who already lives it. So when you visualize a thriving business but carry shame, guilt, or unworthiness, the universe doesn't hear your ambition. It feels your misalignment. The field doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are consistently. And if what you are is a mixed signal, I want it, but I fear I won't get it, then you collapse nothing. Or worse, you collapse more proof that you're not there yet. Scene 4. Why trying harder makes it worse. Here's where the pain deepens, because when results don't show up, most people double down on the doing. They meditate longer. They script harder. They chase new teachers, new methods, new courses, all from the belief that more effort equals better manifestation. But that belief itself is an energetic trap, because the very idea of trying harder implies something isn't already working. It's coded in doubt. It's vibrationally anchored in lack. Let me say this clearly. Trying harder from a place of lack only amplifies the lack. You can't out-effort an energetic contradiction. You have to dissolve it. And dissolving begins with a question far more powerful than, what do I want? It starts with, what am I actually broadcasting? Scene 5. The energetic mirror. Let's visualize your life as a 360-degree mirror. Everything around you, relationships, income, health, synchronicities, is not a result of what you're chasing. It's the echo of your consistent frequency. If you feel unseen, it's not because love isn't available. It's because you're unconsciously vibrating invisibility. If you feel stuck, it's not because success is hiding. It's because your energy is still tied to old stories of failure. If you feel like things always almost work out but never quite land, that's not bad luck. That's energetic mismatch. The field isn't playing hide and seek. It's reflecting you perfectly. And until you shift your internal signal, no external change will ever last. Scene 6. Why results feel delayed and what's actually happening. Now let's talk about timing. People often say, I've been doing the work for weeks and nothing has changed. Maybe it's just not my time. Maybe the universe is still preparing it. But more often than not, it's not about time. It's about inconsistency. One minute you're aligned. You feel empowered. You feel it's already done. The next you're doubting again. You slip into old emotions. You go from being a clear signal to a scrambled one. That's not alignment. That's static. And static doesn't collapse reality. It keeps it suspended. Imagine tuning your radio to 98.5 FM, then jumping to 103.3, then back to static. You're never on one station long enough to hear the song. That's how most people are manifesting, changing frequencies too quickly to receive anything clearly. It's not that your manifestation is late, it's that your alignment is inconsistent. Scene 7. The myth of external fixes. The spiritual marketplace is overflowing. You'll find guided meditations, chakra clearings, crystals, workshops, full moon ceremonies, and hundreds of journaling prompts that promise alignment. And let's be honest, they can be beautiful tools. But tools aren't transformers. You can meditate every day and still vibrate in lack. You can chant mantras and still be energetically misaligned. You can light candles, burn sage, wear mala beads, and still chase a reality that never arrives. Because the only thing the field ever responds to is your internal coherence. You don't need another tool. You need an identity shift. Scene 8. The subtle power of identity frequency. Here's the breakthrough. You don't manifest your desires. You manifest your identity. Not who you pretend to be, not who you affirm you are during a 10-minute morning ritual, but who you actually feel yourself to be across time. Your identity is the energetic anchor. It's the baseline frequency you return to in moments of silence, decision, and discomfort. And that identity determines what the field reflects. So if you're declaring, I'm ready for success, but deep down your identity is still tied to struggle, unworthiness, or fear of being seen, guess what the field will mirror? Struggle, invisibility, chaos. Not because you're cursed, but because your energetic truth still says, this is who I am. Scene 9. The doorway to real power. So what's the solution? It begins not with effort, but with observation, noticing, becoming curious, asking gently and consistently, what story am I living from today? What emotion is fueling my action right now? Am I reaching because I don't have it, or radiating because I already do? That moment of awareness is your doorway, because you can't change a frequency you're not aware you're broadcasting. And here's the shift. Once you start catching the contradiction, you no longer need to fight it. You simply stop feeding it. You pause, you breathe, you realign. Scene 10. What you were never taught about letting go. People often say, just let it go. But what does that really mean? Letting go isn't about abandoning your desire. It's about releasing the version of you who needs it to feel whole. It's not surrendering the vision. It's surrendering the chase. Letting go means aligning with the belief that you already are the version of you who lives that reality. And when that clicks, when you no longer need to manifest something to feel complete, that's when the field collapses in your favor. Not as a reward, but as a reflection of your wholeness. Scene 11. Rewriting the manifestation blueprint. Let's close this part with a reframe. Manifestation isn't about programming the universe. It's about reprogramming yourself to align with what already exists. So instead of asking, how can I attract this? Ask, how can I embody the version of me who naturally lives this life? Instead of saying, universe, bring this to me, say, I am already the one who lives it. And instead of hoping it comes someday, feel it today, not from fantasy, but from frequency. Here's what I want you to take away. You are not chasing a new reality. You're remembering a frequency, and you're not manifesting from your effort. You're manifesting from your energetic identity. If you can feel the truth in that, you're already beginning to shift. In the next part, we'll break down the science and metaphysics of how the quantum field mirrors your state of being and how coherence between your thoughts, emotions, and body becomes the language the universe understands fluently. But for now, sit with this. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are can change. Right now. Part 2, the quantum truth. You are the signal. In the quantum field, you don't attract reality like a magnet. You reflect it like a signal. And that signal, it's not what you say, it's who you are. Scene 1, from wishing to broadcasting. Let's start with a shift so powerful, most people miss it because it sounds too simple. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you broadcast. That single distinction changes everything. It takes manifestation out of the mystical and grounds it in mechanics. Energetic mechanics, to be exact. Think of yourself not as a seeker of reality, but as a sender of frequency. Because the universe isn't waiting for your perfect vision board or your eloquent affirmations. It's responding to the signal you're transmitting every second. And the truth is, you're always transmitting, even when you're silent, even when you're asleep, even when you're just scrolling through your phone. You are a living, breathing, electromagnetic field in motion, and the field around you is constantly reflecting your dominant signal back to you. Scene 2, what the quantum field really is. Before we dive deeper, let's define something clearly. What is the quantum field? It's not some spiritual fog floating in outer space. It's not the universe playing favorites. It's not a vending machine where you insert affirmations and wait for reality to pop out. The quantum field is an infinite sea of potential, a dimension where all possibilities exist simultaneously. It holds every version of your life, the wealthy you, the connected you, the confident you, the joyful you. They're all there, vibrating on different frequencies. It's a mirror, not of your intentions, but of your identity. Here's how it works. Your thoughts emit electrical signals. Your emotions emit magnetic signals. Together, they create your electromagnetic broadcast, your signature vibration. This is what the field listens to. It doesn't care what you want. It reflects what you are. Scene 3, the frequency of being versus the noise of wanting. Let's zoom in. When you say, I want abundance, but you feel anxiety when paying bills, you're transmitting scarcity. When you say, I deserve love, but deep down, you fear abandonment, you're broadcasting insecurity. Wanting is a signal, but it's not the one you think. In quantum terms, wanting is vibrationally synonymous with lacking. The desire alone isn't the issue. It's the frequency underneath it. And the field? It doesn't decode words. It decodes vibes. So the moment you vibrate from lack, even in your most inspired affirmations, you send a signal. I don't have this. And the field, faithfully, unemotionally, reflects that back. That's not a spiritual punishment. It's quantum precision. Scene 4. You are a receiver and a transmitter. Let's use radio as a metaphor. Radio stations are always broadcasting. You don't create the music. You tune into the frequency that's already playing it. Manifestation works the same way. You don't force your dream life into existence. You tune into the version of you who's already living it. And this isn't poetic, it's physics. Your body has measurable electromagnetic fields, especially your heart and brain. The Heart Math Institute has shown that your heart's field is up to 60 times more powerful electrically and 5,000 times more powerful magnetically than your brain. In other words, what you feel is far more influential than what you think. This is why someone who walks into a room feeling confident changes the energy instantly, even if they don't say a word. It's not charisma, it's coherence. Their internal state is aligned, broadcasting clearly, and the world adjusts around them in response. Scene 5. Coherence. The language the field understands. Let's talk about coherence. Coherence is the state where your heart, brain, nervous system, and energy are in alignment. Your thoughts support your feelings. Your feelings match your identity. Your identity reflects your desired timeline. When you reach coherence, your signal becomes laser-focused. You're no longer broadcasting mixed messages. You're locked into one frequency, one timeline, and the field reflects it back quickly. Studies show that when you're in coherence, your cortisol, stress hormone, levels drop. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain enters optimal flow states. Your body begins healing itself. Your electromagnetic field becomes stable and powerful. Now imagine what happens when that same coherence is focused not just on health, but on wealth, love, success, joy. The field doesn't delay, it delivers. Scene 6. Why most people broadcast conflicting signals. Here's the human problem. We are often not aware of what we're actually broadcasting. We say the right things. We visualize with intention. But underneath, we're broadcasting fear, doubt, and old trauma. You might affirm, "I trust the process." But inside, your nervous system is bracing for disappointment. That's not alignment. That's a contradiction. And the field, again, reflects the dominant signal, fear. This is why self-awareness is the most underrated tool in manifestation. Not spiritual bypassing, not pretending, but honest, energetic auditing. Ask yourself, what is my dominant emotional state during the day? What's my internal reaction to not getting what I want? Do I truly believe I'm safe to receive more? Because the answers to those questions determine what you broadcast. Scene 7. Identity drives frequency. Let's break this down even further. You don't manifest from the version of you who's trying. You manifest from the version of you who's being. And being isn't about acting. It's about identity. Your identity is your energetic baseline. It's the emotional default you return to when things go quiet. It's how your nervous system feels in silence. It's the story your cells carry about who you are and what's available to you. If that identity says, "I always struggle," or "things don't work out for me," then no amount of positive scripting will override it unless you shift the broadcast at the identity level. This is why the phrase, "live as if," isn't about faking it. It's about embodying the frequency of your desired reality now. Not in hope, but in truth. Because in the quantum world, time doesn't sequence reality, frequency does. Scene 8. How to change your frequency. Practically. So how do you shift from wishing to broadcasting? Here's the step-by-step process, not as a ritual, but as a way of being. 1. Pause and observe. Before you speak your intention, ask yourself, what's the energy behind this? Is it anxious? Is it impatient? Is it trying to fix something broken? If so, pause. That's not the frequency you want to amplify. 2. Feel the end state. Now don't visualize outcomes. Feel identities. Feel the safety of being abundant. Feel the peace of being loved. Feel the joy of being aligned. Let your emotions lead. Emotions are the magnetic language of the field. 3rd, anchor in the body. Your body is your signal tower. When you move, speak, and breathe like the version of you who already lives the reality, you generate coherence. Practice this. Walk as the abundant version. Eat as the joyful version. Respond as the fulfilled version. This isn't pretending. It's precision. It's quantum calibration. 4. Consistency over intensity. One big manifestation session won't override a week of worry. Your baseline matters more than your highlights. So create micro moments of alignment. Daily, hourly. Check in with yourself. Adjust the frequency gently, like fine-tuning a dial. Scene 9. Collapse is quiet. But real people often say, "But how will I know it's working?" Here's the thing. You won't feel the shift like an earthquake. You'll feel it as a subtle silence, a calm, a strange sense of peace even when nothing external has changed yet. That's the collapse beginning. Reality doesn't scream its changes. It whispers. It reshapes silently behind the scenes, catching up to your new broadcast. You'll notice. People respond to you differently. Synchronicities increase. Resistance dissolves. Decisions become easier, not because life got easier, but because your signal got clearer. Scene 10. You're not waiting for reality. Reality is waiting for you. Here's the mic drop moment. The life you want isn't waiting to be created. It's waiting to be accessed. It's already happening in the quantum field. Your dream timeline is already playing. Your job isn't to force it into existence. Your job is to tune in. So the real question isn't, how do I make this happen? It's, what am I currently broadcasting that's blocking it? And when you find that answer, not with judgment, but with curiosity, you unlock everything. You become the tuning fork, and the field becomes the echo. Let's summarize what we've uncovered. The quantum field is not reactive to desire. It's reflective of identity. Your thoughts and emotions are electrical and magnetic broadcasts. You are always transmitting a frequency, consciously or not. Coherence is the secret. When your thoughts, feelings, and body align, reality responds fast. The version of you who lives your dream life already exists. Your job is to match their frequency, not one day, but now. Because in this universe, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. And when you remember that, the game changes. If this part helped you reframe your power, take a moment to write in the comments. I am the signal. I choose my frequency. It's not just a sentence. It's a broadcast, and the field is always listening. Part 3, becoming the version that already has it. You don't become magnetic by chasing your future. You become magnetic by collapsing into the version of you who already lives it. Scene 1, the moment that changes everything. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and nothing has changed. Your bank account is the same. Your relationship status is the same. Your job, your environment, your health, all the same. But something inside you, subtle but undeniable, feels different. You feel less rushed, less desperate, less in pursuit. Instead, you feel calm, aligned, whole. And in that silence, a new thought arises. Not a wish, but a knowing. I am already the version of me who has what I desire. That moment, that's not a motivational daydream. That's a vibrational shift. That's where true manifestation begins. Not with change in the world, but change in identity. Scene 2, identity is the real law of attraction. Let's break a big myth. Most people believe manifestation is about matching your thoughts to your goals. But in truth, it's about matching your identity to your outcome. Because your identity is the foundation of every thought, every emotion, every action. It's the signal beneath the signal. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, your brain will find struggle. If you see yourself as someone who always gets the short end of the stick, the world will reflect that back. If you see yourself as the version of you who receives with ease, guess what shows up? It's not about force. It's about frequency. You don't attract the life you want. You attract the life you believe is natural to you. Scene 3. Most people are playing the wrong role. Here's the part nobody tells you. The version of you that wants the thing isn't the version that receives it. That's why most manifestation efforts fail. People keep trying to manifest from the perspective of the seeker, the one who doesn't have it yet, the one who's still hoping, the one who says, someday. But here's the truth. Someday energy creates someday timelines. And those timelines never arrive because you're always broadcasting from the version of yourself who's still becoming. That's the energetic gap. To close that gap, you don't need more effort. You need a new embodiment. You need to stop trying to become the person who gets what they want and start living as the person who already has. Scene 4, what it really means to be her or be him. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking confidence or acting out affirmations. This is about emotional accuracy. It's about understanding this truth. There is already a version of you in the quantum field who naturally experiences what you now desire. And that version of you, they don't wake up hoping. They wake up aligned. They move, speak, and decide from a completely different place. So the work is not to perform as them. The work is to embody their baseline frequency, their calm, their confidence, their expectations, their boundaries, their sense of what's normal. Because reality doesn't shift because you want it to. It shifts because you're no longer a vibrational match for the old one. Scene 5, Neuroplasticity plus quantum identity equals real change. Let's tie the science in. Your brain is not fixed. Through a process called neuroplasticity, your neural pathways reshape themselves based on repetition and emotional intensity. When you begin thinking and feeling like your future self, your brain literally starts wiring itself to match that version. And even deeper than that, your electromagnetic field begins to shift. You start accessing memories, thoughts, and emotional patterns from a different timeline, one where your future self already lives. You're not imagining it, you're downloading it. That's what embodiment really is, living now from the identity of the version of you who has already arrived. It's not visualization, it's vibrational truth. Scene 6. Anchoring into the body. Here's where this gets real. Your body holds your energetic blueprint. You can't think your way into a new identity while your body is still wired to fear, doubt, and survival mode. So embodiment must be physical. Start small. How does your future self breathe? How do they walk into a room? What posture do they carry? What do they say yes to? What do they say no to? This is subtle, but profound. You're training your nervous system to feel safe with your next level. Because if your body doesn't feel safe having more, it will subconsciously push it away. Scene 7. Collapse happens in micro moments. We think quantum shifts are these big, dramatic events, but they're not. They happen in quiet, invisible moments. When you say no to an old pattern, when you respond from your new identity, even when it's hard, when you catch yourself mid-thought and say, no, that's not me anymore. These are the micro moves that collapse timelines. Because the moment you stop reacting like your old self, your reality stops reflecting your old self. And the field, it takes notice. Scene 8. Stop waiting for proof. Be the proof. Here's a painful truth. Most people delay embodiment because they're waiting for external validation. They want to see evidence first, and then they'll feel successful. But the quantum field doesn't work on proof. It works on projection. You don't get confirmation before you become. You get confirmation because you became. So instead of waiting to feel confident until you get the job, feel confident first and watch how the opportunities shift. Instead of waiting to feel worthy after the relationship arrives, feel worthy first, and the field will mirror it back. You become the proof, not by pretending, but by being ahead of your environment. Scene 9. Create your future's emotional blueprint. If you want to accelerate your embodiment, try this. Emotional blueprint exercise. Choose a specific outcome, not vague, make it vivid. Ask, what emotions does the future version of me feel as their baseline? Calm, freedom, empowerment, playfulness, expansion. Now match them. Daily. Feel what they feel. Think how they think. Decide how they decide. Even if nothing changes outside of you, your frequency will change. And when that does, reality must catch up, because the field doesn't reflect effort, it reflects emotional alignment. Scene 10. Collapse the timeline, from hoping to holding. Let's paint a picture. 2 versions of you wake up tomorrow. Version 1, still hoping, still scripting, still trying to attract what they want, still waiting for signs. Version 2 moves as if it's already done, speaks from alignment, feels safe in receiving, lives the outcome now. Which version do you think the field responds to? Always version 2. That's not arrogance, that's vibrational precision. And the moment you choose to collapse into that identity, you shift from becoming to my being, seeking to expressing, asking to my receiving. You go from reaching to radiating, and the field mirrors back what you already are. Scene 11. Embodiment is the true shortcut. We're obsessed with shortcuts, techniques, faster methods, one more podcast, one more coach, one more hack. But here's the secret all the great manifestors know. Embodiment is the only shortcut, because once you are the person who has it, the journey collapses. You don't need to manifest anymore. You simply live, and the field reflects the clarity of your being. So instead of asking, how can I get there faster? Ask, what parts of me are still vibrating in the old identity? and then gently, without shame, bring them forward into your new self. Scene 12. Final questions for integration. Here are your embodiment questions. Journal them. Meditate on them. Speak them out loud. What would the version of me who already has this be thinking right now? How would they respond to this moment, this problem, this opportunity? What do they no longer tolerate? What do they expect without question? What do they believe is normal? Because that version of you already exists. And every moment you align with their signal, your reality rearranges around you. Let's land this message. You don't manifest through waiting. You manifest through remembering. The version of you who already lives your dream isn't distant. They're just vibrating at a different emotional altitude. And the fastest way to meet them is to become them. Not one day, not when the world finally proves it. Now, because your new life doesn't start with the world shifting, it starts with you shifting into the you that's already whole. If you're ready to embody the version of you who already has it, write it in the comments. I am her. I am him. I am that I am. And breathe into that identity. Because once you become it, the quantum field responds in kind. And the universe, with no delay, says, so it is. Part 4. The power of emotional coherence. You don't manifest through words. You manifest through resonance. And when your mind and heart speak the same language, the universe echoes back with precision. Scene 1. The invisible code behind manifestation. Let's begin with this. Every person watching this video has probably done the rituals. You've written the affirmations. You've sat in stillness and visualized. You've burned the candles, whispered the mantras, made your list of goals. But still, the breakthrough hasn't arrived. And you wonder, what am I missing? What if I told you it's not a lack of effort, but a lack of coherence? Because here's what most people don't realize. The universe doesn't respond to intensity. It responds to consistency. Not mental consistency, but energetic coherence. And coherence is the most powerful force you're not using. Yet. Scene 2. What is emotional coherence? Really, let's define it simply. Emotional coherence is the alignment between what you think, what you feel, and who you're being. It's when your thoughts say, I trust, and your emotions say, I'm safe. And your nervous system agrees. No contradiction, no internal static. Just a clean, congruent signal. When that happens, you generate what researchers call a coherent electromagnetic field, a kind of emotional signal that the universe reads clearly. And that's when timelines collapse. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally stopped sending mixed signals. Scene 3. What science says about your frequency. Let's get technical. Your heart produces the largest electromagnetic field in your body. It radiates up to 6 feet in all directions and carries data about your emotional state. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, when you feel appreciation, compassion, and love, your heart rhythm becomes smooth and harmonious. This coherence has a measurable effect on your brainwave activity, your immune system, and your ability to access intuition. In this state, your body becomes more resilient, and your energetic field becomes more powerful and organized. Why does this matter? Because your energetic field doesn't just affect your health, it affects your reality. When your signal is coherent, the quantum field doesn't hesitate. It reflects clarity, not confusion. Scene 4. Coherence is not positivity, it's precision. Let's clear up a major misconception. Coherence is not about being constantly positive. It's not about suppressing negative emotions. It's not about pretending everything's okay. True coherence means being emotionally accurate, not emotionally fake. It means feeling what you feel, but staying centered in your truth. For example, you can feel fear, but not be run by it. You can feel anger, but still stay aligned. You can feel grief, but not forget who you are. Coherence doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. And presence, true presence, is the cleanest broadcast the universe can receive. Scene 5. Why emotional conflict blocks manifestation. Let's talk about energetic contradiction. This is what happens when you think abundance but feel scarcity. You visualize love but feel unworthy. You speak success but vibrate self-doubt. That contradiction creates static. And here's the truth. The universe doesn't read your words. It reads your baseline emotion. So if your dominant emotion is anxiety, even while affirming, journaling, meditating, guess what gets broadcast? The anxiety. This is why people can spend years doing the work and still not see results. Because the work isn't what you're doing externally. It's what you're feeling internally, habitually. Scene 6. Your emotional set point runs the show. Every person has an emotional set point. It's the frequency you return to most often. It's the vibe you carry when you're not trying to be anyone else. It's the default you. And that's the signal the field responds to. Not the peaks. Not the moments when you feel high after a manifestation workshop, but the baseline. The emotional home you return to between the highs and lows. So here's the real work. Raise your baseline, not your mood. Because when your baseline becomes peace, joy, abundance, wholeness, that's when your life begins to mirror those emotions without effort. Scene 7. How to create coherence. Practically, let's make this tangible. How do you shift into emotional coherence? Step 1. Start with breath. Your breath is the remote control to your nervous system. Slow it down. Sync it with your heartbeat. Try this. Inhale for 5 counts. Exhale for 5 counts. For 2 minutes. That's all it takes to begin generating heart-brain coherence. You'll feel it. A calmness, a reset, a returning. Step 2. Add elevated emotion. Once calm, generate a felt sense of appreciation, gratitude, or compassion. Why these? Because they're high-frequency emotions. They stabilize your field. They send the signal, I am safe. I am already connected. I already have what I desire. And the universe says, understood. Step 3. Think from your future identity. Now introduce thought, not from who you are now, but from the version of you who already has it. What do they think about this moment? What do they believe about their worth? What choices feel normal to them? When that thought and emotion sync up, when they align, that's coherence. Scene 8. Coherence makes you magnetic. Let's look at what coherence creates in real life. When you're emotionally coherent, you become magnetic to new opportunities, clear in your intuition, grounded in your decisions, immune to chaos, peaceful even in the unknown. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt calm in their presence? That's coherence. They're not leaking energy. They're not performing. They're just whole. And you feel it. That's the power you tap into when you live in emotional coherence. You become the lighthouse. You stop chasing and start attracting, not through force, but through field. Scene 9. Your brain wants coherence. 2. Here's the neuroscience. When your emotions and thoughts conflict, your brain is in a state of incoherence, like a GPS trying to follow 2 conflicting routes. It's exhausting. It creates decision fatigue. It causes emotional volatility. But in coherence, your brain moves into alpha and theta states, calm, clear, and creative. That's where you access intuition. That's where downloads arrive. That's where the inspired action flows, not from panic, but from presence. And when your brain and heart are in harmony, you collapse timelines faster, because your signal isn't scattered. It's sharp. Scene 10. What blocks coherence and how to dissolve it? Let's be honest. Why don't we stay coherent? Because most of us were never taught how. We grew up reacting emotionally, absorbing stress from our environment, believing survival was more important than presence. So the first step is compassion. You are not broken. You're simply patterned. But those patterns are not permanent. They're programmable. And every time you choose stillness over stress, alignment over reaction, you are reprogramming your field. You're teaching your body that it's safe to live in peace. You're teaching your energy that chaos isn't your baseline anymore. And the more you practice that, the more natural coherence becomes. Scene 11. Coherence activates hidden gifts. Now let's go deeper. When you live in sustained coherence, your DNA begins to change. Dormant genes associated with healing, clarity, and even intuition switch on. Your cells begin broadcasting a different signal to the field. Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented this repeatedly. People in coherent emotional states activate brain-heart-body synchronization that restructures their timeline. What does that mean practically? You get solutions you never thought of. You meet people in random synchronicities. You receive offers, signs, nudges, and insights that seem like magic, but they're not. They're quantum logic. Because when your broadcast is clean, the field can finally respond clearly. Scene 12. Emotional fluidity equals manifestation mastery. Let's clarify something important. Coherence doesn't mean you never feel sad, or angry, or overwhelmed. It means you know how to process emotion without losing your center. That's what I call emotional fluidity. You let emotions move through you without becoming them. You honor your humanity without abandoning your frequency. And that balance, that grace, that's the highest form of power. Because the field doesn't reward fake calmness. It responds to real alignment. So let your emotions flow, but let your truth lead. Scene 13. When coherence becomes who you are. Something incredible happens when coherence stops being a practice and starts being your personality. You don't have to try anymore. You wake up coherent. You walk coherent. You respond coherent. And manifestation isn't a ritual. It's just what happens when your field becomes clear. You become a living transmission, and life reshapes itself around your signal. This is how the masters do it, not through control, not through chasing, but through being. Let's land the plane. Emotional coherence is not a spiritual trend. It's quantum precision. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you consistently feel. Coherence is your cleanest, strongest, most magnetic signal. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. The more you live in alignment, the more your field becomes impossible to ignore. And the best part, you don't need anything outside of you to begin. Just breathe. Awareness, emotion, intention. That's the code. And you already hold it. If this message clicked, drop this in the comments. I choose coherence. I lead with frequency. Let that comment become a digital declaration, a vibrational anchor in the field. Because the moment you choose coherence, life no longer needs to test you. It starts mirroring you. Part 5. Manifestation is memory, not creation. The life you want isn't something you create. It's something you remember. Because every possibility already exists. You just haven't tuned into it yet. Scene 1. The lie of someday. Let's begin with the lie you've been sold since the day you first heard about manifestation. You have to create your dream life. It sounds empowering, inspiring, bold, but underneath it lives a subtle signal of lack. Because when you're told to create something, it implies that it doesn't already exist, that it's somewhere in the distance, something to be earned, constructed, built from scratch. And that's the illusion. In the quantum field, nothing is ever missing. It's only misaligned. Every version of you already exists, not metaphorically, literally. And manifestation isn't the act of pulling something in. It's the art of remembering what's already yours. Scene 2. What science knows about possibility. Let's anchor this in the science. In quantum mechanics, reality isn't linear. It doesn't unfold in straight lines. It unfolds in fields of potential. Endless, simultaneous possibilities. Right now, infinite timelines are running in parallel. There's a timeline where you're wealthy, one where you're deeply in love, one where you're radiantly healthy, and one where you're wildly fulfilled. They're all happening right now. Your job isn't to build those realities. Your job is to shift your frequency to match the one where that version of you already lives. You're not creating something new. You're remembering a version of you forgot you had access to. Scene 3. The memory of energy. Let's talk about memory, not as a mental file folder, but as an energetic phenomenon. Your body doesn't just remember the past, it holds resonance for every possible version of you. This is why sometimes you get a feeling of déjà vu when stepping into a new opportunity. You feel strangely at home in a place you've never been. You get flashes of clarity, insight, or confidence out of nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's your cells remembering a timeline you've now touched. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this collapsing into a new identity. But in truth, It's more like retrieving a forgotten frequency. You're not creating it. You're downloading it from the field. Scene 4. Frequency is the access key. Let's zoom into the practical. How do you access a timeline where what you want already exists? One word: resonance. Every version of your life exists on a vibrational station, like songs on a radio. When you want to hear jazz, you don't yell at the speaker to change the music. You tune the dial. The same is true for reality. You don't force success. You tune to the frequency of someone who already experiences it. You don't chase love. You become the version of you who already feels lovable. This is how manifestation works, not through desire, but through alignment with memory. Scene 5. The future already exists in the now. Most people live on a delay. They think, once I get the job, I'll feel secure. Once I find love, I'll feel enough. Once I heal, I'll feel whole. But that's reversed, because the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you feel now. This is why waiting for your dream to appear before you feel it guarantees it never will. The truth? You don't wait for the reality to show up. You become the version of you that would naturally live it, and reality follows. You don't delay the frequency, you deliver it. Now, because time in the quantum world isn't linear, it's vibrational, and the field doesn't wait for the future. It listens to your now. Scene 6. Collapse happens when you forget to doubt. Have you ever had a moment where everything flowed? The call came through. The money arrived. The clarity dropped in. The thing you were chasing suddenly showed up effortlessly. What happened? You stopped resisting. You stopped doubting. You weren't begging the field. You were being. That's collapse. Collapse doesn't happen when you try harder. It happens when your thoughts and feelings agree, when your frequency becomes undeniable. And when that happens, timelines fold, possibilities crystallize, and the reality you were trying to build remembers you. Scene 7. The role of the subconscious. Now let's talk about your subconscious mind, the true gatekeeper of your reality. Your subconscious is like the hard drive that holds your energetic memory, and unless reprogrammed, it will continue projecting the same version of you into the field, over and over. That's why you might visualize abundance but keep attracting debt. You affirm love but continue feeling rejected. You chase purpose but feel lost. Because the subconscious doesn't operate on your words, it operates on your identity loops. So to shift your reality, you don't just change your thoughts. You rewire your subconscious memory to match a new emotional baseline. You teach your body, this is who I am now. And when the body believes it, the field mirrors it, not as a miracle, as a memory returning home. Scene 8. The memory of your future self. Let's go deeper. There's a version of you, already alive in the field, who knows exactly how to navigate what you're facing right now. They've already healed the pain, made the money, built the love, found the freedom. So instead of asking, how do I get there? Ask a better question. How would my future self respond to this? Let their memory become your compass. Walk like them, breathe like them, decide like them, because each time you do, you're not pretending, you're remembering. And with every repetition, your timeline adjusts. Scene 9. You've already touched the frequency. Want proof this version of you exists? Think of a time when you felt fully alive, even for a moment. You felt peace without trying. You radiated confidence. You were magnetic without effort. You trusted life completely, even if it lasted 30 seconds. That moment was real. That was the frequency. That was a memory, breaking through the noise. Now imagine living from that place, daily, intentionally, not because you forced it, but because you remembered where it lives inside you. That's embodiment. That's mastery. That's timeline merging. Scene 10. What keeps you from remembering? If this is so natural, why don't we live like this all the time? 2 reasons: programming and protection. Programming. We've been trained to believe we must struggle to earn what's already ours. That effort equals worth. That ease is suspicious. So we keep chasing what we could be embodying. Protection. Our nervous systems are wired to avoid unfamiliar frequencies, even if they're positive. If joy feels unsafe, we sabotage it. If love feels dangerous, we push it away. So the work is this. Gently train your system to feel safe in your next level identity. Not all at once, but moment by moment. Feel joy for 10 more seconds. Feel abundance for one more breath. Feel peace long enough for it to become familiar. Because the more you feel it, the more your system recognizes it, and the more your field reflects it. Scene 11. Downloading from your future timeline. Let's now move into a practice, one you can do anytime, anywhere. Future memory activation. Close your eyes. Imagine one area of your life completely aligned. Money, love, health, your choice. Step into that version of you, not from outside, but inside their body. Breathe like them. Speak like them. Feel their baseline emotion. Ask, what do I know from here? Let the answer come. You're not creating it. You're retrieving it. Because the version of you who lives that life has a message, and you've just accessed their memory. Scene 12. Redefining what it means to manifest. Let's summarize everything in one radical reframe. Manifestation is not the act of pulling something toward you. It's the art of matching the memory of who you already are. You are not becoming. You are recalling. You are not trying. You are tuning. You are not hoping. You are harmonizing. And when that becomes your way of being, life feels less like a battle and more like a rhythm you've finally found. You stop chasing. You start receiving. Not because you finally earned it, but because you finally remembered yourself. You were never missing anything. Your dream life was never locked behind effort, suffering, or endless personal development loops. It was and is right here, waiting for your frequency, waiting for your coherence, waiting for your remembrance. So here's your invitation. Stop trying to become something new. Start remembering what you already are, because in the quantum field, you are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken. You're just one alignment away from remembering a timeline that has always been calling your name. If this 5-part journey shifted you, anchored you, or helped you remember your truth, comment below, I remember who I am. Say it out loud. Type it. Feel it. Because your words are not just expression, they are activation. And now that you know, you can never unknow. You don't need to manifest your dream life. You just need to match the memory of it. And that, my friend, starts today.